likeness. Keep on. Never say die. Keep on. Likeness. Keep on. Never say die. Keep on. Likeness. Never say die. Never say die. Keep on. Never say die.
look at where God is in the midst of a struggle, in the midst of a culture. So, share, tag, like, get everybody, get anybody, get everybody, get anybody, get everybody. Tell them to come on, share, tag, like, for you will be blessed today. I am so excited how God has been using us, talking about impact and how to be impactful in this year and how to disrupt, come in and intervene and come in and disrupt and interrupt, disrupt, and how to begin to make changes all around you and within your world. And so if you've been taking notes, I hope you have, because I believe my prayer is that God will use you in this year like you have never been used before. And he has given us examples. He himself, Jesus himself, has shown how he came and impacted the world, disrupted systems, and came in and changed stuff. And so we're going to continue that discussion as we honor Black History Month. So let's watch this. If you missed last week, let's watch this and share, tag, like, and let's go. Stop just praying about your issues and so selfish about your stuff, but to be able to see how God can use you. You ain't at your job just to be there. You're there to affect that system. You're not in your family just to be a part of the drama. You are called to affect that system. You are there to impact lives, to be a voice, to be a statement, to be one to bring forth change in communities. Good morning. As we start this morning off, this is my prayer, this is my word of encouragement to you, to know that God is able to do exceedingly abundantly above all that we could even ask or think of him. Able to do what he said he will do. Yes, he's gonna fulfill every promise to you. So don't, if you felt like giving up, if you don't know and you want to throw in the towel, I want you to know he's able this morning. And so we welcome you to this platform. We welcome you this morning and remind you that he's able when life gets hard, when it seems like the struggle's too much. Oh, I want you to remember. He's able. Come on, can you say? He's able. Woo! He's able. Listen, through trials and situations, through circumstances, when everything seems to go awry and things aren't going your way, I want you to understand that God is able to do exceeding, abundant, above all that you could even ask or even think on this morning. So come on and say, turn that frown into a smile and remember, he's able, he's able, he's able. Oh, let me encourage you this this morning. When you're going through situations and going through circumstances and you may not have the words, sometimes your mind may get crazy. Sometimes you may doubt. Sometimes you might worry. I want you to remember, hey, he's able. He's able. And Daniel was in the lion's den with that fear and with fear in his heart. But he said, even if I perish, I know one thing, that God is able. I need you to realize and understand what God is capable of. Never doubt God when your back's against the wall, when you don't know what to say, when you don't know what to do, when everybody has forgotten about you or left you half dead or caused you to be the one to feel as if you are not going to make it. I'm here to encourage you this morning. You're going to make it. Greater is he that is in you than he that is in the world. You can do all things through Christ, because if God is in you, if God is for you, he's more than anything that is against you. So don't give up on God, because he won't give up on you. Woo, that's powerful. Did y'all just hear what I said? He will not even give up on you. When you have even given up on yourself sometimes, he will not, because he created you with a plan. He created you with purpose. He created you not to just get caught up in the caught up. Come on, somebody. I'm already encouraging this morning. Good morning, Life Change. We're so glad to have you with us on this morning. I am so excited. This is one of my favorite months where God is in the midst and where God is blessing. Lyrics only. It's powerful to know what God is able to do and how God is able to move and how God is able to do great things. It is shout out time in the sanctuary, and we are so excited about what God has done. Listen, if God has blessed you this week, if God has done something powerful in your life, if God has delivered you and brought healing and breakthrough and deliverance wherever you are, you can put it in the comment section. I'll make note of it, because we are so excited that people are being blessed by this broadcast. We are all around the world, and I just want to say good morning. Whatever language you speak, good morning. We are so glad to have you on this morning. So who's in our virtue space? Ayana, so glad to see you this morning, and thank you for inviting somebody. I saw the name come up. Thank you for joining. Judy, so glad to see you on this morning. Susan, so glad to see you on this morning. Pastor Lorna, good morning to you. Praying that God's favor be upon you. Tristan, so glad to see you on this morning. Oh my goodness. Listen, Judy, you have invited some folks, and so I want to say, Naomi Lewis, good morning to you. Welcome to our broadcast. Marcus Mitchell, welcome to our broadcast. Is there anybody else? We love to see new faces and to see new people come on, and I pray that God will do something through this broadcast. Speak to you right where you are. Jasmine Marie, so glad. Welcome to our broadcast. We are so excited to have you. And I believe the power of God is like this. He moves like this. I may have never met you, never seen you, never talked to you, but I believe that a word is going to come through the airwaves and meet you right where you are. Bless you right where you are. There's some unanswered questions. There's some fears. There's some doubts. There's some ups and downs going on in your life. But I believe, a matter of fact, not only believe, I know that God can meet you right where you are. You don't have to put on a facade. You don't have to put on no front. God knows where you are, and God is able to work with whatever you're going through right now. He's able to fix it. He's able to come in and change it. He's able to come in and make some things change for your life. So I need you to understand what God is capable of doing and able to do. Anybody else in our virtue space that we need to welcome? If I missed you on this morning, then do me a favor. If you see a name coming up, do me a favor on behalf of myself and Pastor Mika, just welcome them in. I am so excited to be able to bring church right to you where you are. You don't have to come to no building. We coming to where you are. And I believe that this is going to be how God's going to use the church of the future, where you'll be able to get on a podcast and be encouraged, where you'll be able to tune in wherever you are around the world and get built up, get equipped, and be able to be all that God has called for you to be in your life. Time out for the judging. Time out for feeling like God has doomed you to hell. Nope. God created you. Do you hear me? You're on this earth for such a time to make impact. And so my job is to encourage you to see God in a new way, for you to be able to partner with your creator and be able to be a bad somebody, be able to take a licking and keep on ticking, being able to fall and be able to do as the Bible says and get back up, be able to make some mistakes and know that your mistakes is not something that you live in, but it's something that you go forward in. Do you hear me? Come on. You can't go back. You can only go forward. Donald, so glad to see you on this morning. Kiki, so glad to see you on this morning. As y'all see, I'm excited and my producer's telling me to move on. And so I welcome you to this space. And I pray that you will be encouraged. I know a lot's going on in our world. I know over and over again it seems like injustice happens and we're hearing craziness on the news. But I want to remind you that even in the midst of all the craziness, God will step in, he'll show up, he'll show out. Come on, somebody, who am I talking to? You can let me know if this is hitting you right where you are. Matter of fact, if there's a prayer, if there's something on your heart, put it in the text. We're going to communicate. See, in the church, you usually can't. I'm preaching to you, but we're going to be able to connect and communicate together. So, oh my goodness. Have y'all been blessed? Have y'all been impacted? Well, this is Black History Month, and I want to give honor to where honor is due, to our ancestors, to grandma and them, to grandpa and them, to uncle and auntie, for those who have passed on, for those who have made it their business to stand and to fight and to do what they needed to do for us to have the liberty and the freedom today. Not only just black people, but we are American history. And so we have impacted all of history. And so let's watch this and we'll be right back after this.
Lift every voice and sing to earth and heaven ring with the harmonies of liberty. Let our rejoicing rise high as the listening skies. Let it resound loud as the roaring sea. Sing, 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 sing a song full of the faith that the dark past has taught us. Sing a song full of the hope that the present has brought us, facing the rising sun of a new day begun. Let us march on till victory is won.
Thank you for your giving. Do you realize your financial contribution is helping to bless children, families, and organizations all around the world? I want to thank you in advance for what you're already doing, because your giving is touching so many people around the world. Oh, you want to know how to give? Okay, simple. If you have Cash App, it's $ Life Change Providence. Or if you want to give through our Givelify app, just simply download Givelify app and then put in Life Change Christian Church Providence, and then whatever amount you choose to give, that's what you do. Please know that what you give is going to touch and change lives all around the world. I pray that your obedience in your giving today, that it will be a blessing to you, because the scripture says the more you give, the more is given back to you to be able to be a blessing. Until then, thank you for your giving right here at Life Change. Just want to thank you for being able to be a blessing to this ministry. And as you are a blessing, please know that whatever you do is going all around the world to change lives, to help people, to bless people. And so, do your part. And I believe not only giving to this, to what we're doing, but I believe that as you are sowing a seed, basically you're sowing a blessing back to yourself. That as you have a spirit of gratitude, as we are blessing you, then in turn, your blessing is to be a blessing even large scale. Could you imagine the amount that you give, that it goes all around the world to help children, to help families, to help bring life change and impact to so many people's lives? So thank you for what you do. You know who you are. You know what you do. And if you've never done that before, more information is going to come your way. But I hear it is birthdays. Oh my goodness. It is birthdays. February birthdays. Today is one of our... I can't even begin to explain how this brother has blessed us, but let me try to. Do you all know when you come on and you see the title of whatever it's going to be, like what we just saw where it says Impact Stand? He's the one behind that, putting all the graphics together for our ministry, and we're so thankful and grateful to him. And so, Daryl, we want to just be a blessing to you on today, and we just want to shout out to you. Happy birthday, Daryl! Oh my goodness, and Ayana, listen, happy birthday. You got a special day. Your day is on my mother-in-law's birthday, and so happy birthday to you. Enjoy your day. Don't let nothing get to you. Listen, it's your self-care day. Enjoy your day. Do what you gotta do. It's your birthday. Party like it's your birthday. Celebrate God like it's your birthday, because he gave you another year. So happy birthday. Oh my goodness, Brother James, haven't heard from you in a while, but happy birthday to you as well. There is so many. Now, if we've missed you, then all you need to do is give us a call and we'll shout out to you. But we're so glad it's your birthday. So we got announcements coming. We've got so much more coming. We want to impact you right where you are. If you've been impacted by the messages over the course of these past several weeks, I need to hear from you. I need to know what God has been doing, how you've been making impact around the world. I tell you, you are watching a pastor. You're watching one who is about making impact. I don't only just talk about it, I'm about it. I don't just pray about it, I'm about it. Because the Bible instructs us that not only do we be hearers, but we also gotta be doers. And so if your Christianity is just about bless you, just about praying and to get your needs met, then that's small Christianity, baby. That's not even, that's just bouncing the ceiling and coming back down. But if you're serious about God moving and doing powerful things in your life, I mean, changing your family structure and changing how your kids are being raised and coming from poverty into being blessed and coming from crazy situations, being able to write books about it, starting businesses, being able to change people's lives, being able to stand and speak and be a voice for the marginless, for those oppressed, for those that have nothing and feel hopeless and feel like giving up, but you can come in and be used by God to impact, change somebody's life in their world, then my God, your life will be full of adventure. So, let's go and let's be impacted Today is your day. Hey, begin to think of how God systems are crumbling, families are crumbling, cultures are crumbling. The Bible says it this way: when the foundations are being destroyed, what in the world can the righteous do? In times of injustice, in times of marginalization, in times of oppression, in times of identity crisis, He's come to rescue. What do we do with this injustice? You have to cry aloud to God. So what should we do as a church? What should we do as a people? What should we do as a nation? Cry out. I'm crying out to God. Martin Luther King said, "The ultimate measure of a man, of a woman, is not where he or she stands in moments of comfort, but where he or she stands at times of challenge and controversy." How do you make impact when you see injustice around? How do you make impact when all you've seen is the diss more than the function? How do you make impact when you feel as the world is against you? How do you make impact when you've come from oppression, poverty, sickness, sick people, sick situations, past of abandonment, rejection, isolation, molestation, poverty, when all you've seen is more negative, that it becomes your norm? Trauma is a norm. Being reactive is your norm. Not seeing anything of hope. The more hope you want, the more hopeless it becomes. The more bondage, the more fear, the more of not knowing if you will make it. And the more you want to see blessings in, to have a bright future in, to say goodbye to toxicity, brokenness, pain, failure, confusion, worry. Oh, the more you want to stand, the more you try, the more you falter. When you try to go one step forward, oh, it becomes that much more backwards. Opposition. People who you thought was with you, being the very ones that are against you. You thought they was friends, but now you really see they was there, only to hear your plans. And instead of praying for you, they were praying, P-R-E-Y, against you. Do I have any witnesses today? For like Martin Luther King Jr. said, the ultimate measure is where you stand. Not when it's comfortable, not when it's convenient, but in times of challenge and controversy. Are you going through some challenges? What controversies are you facing? I want to encourage you today that if you're allowing fear, if you're allowing your emotions to get the best of you, if you are flighting and fighting, instead of being one to stand and understand that you was built for this. You have what it takes to be a winner. You have what it takes for God to use you. You have what it takes to make an impact. And so, may I encourage you, stop standing in anger. Stop standing in bitterness. Stop standing in pride. Stop standing in worry. Stop standing in doubt. Stop standing with the fears. Stop standing with the demons that haunt your mind. It's time for you to take a stand. And in the biblical book named after her, Esther, a young Jewish woman living in the Persian diaspora finds herself becoming a king. And when it mattered most, she risked her life. She risked her level of comfort. She risked her convenience. She risked her status. She risked her entourage. She missed for the sake of being able to stand in the midst of challenges and controversy. And so in Esther 4, verses 13 through the various, going to take you on a journey and to tell you of a woman, if you've never known, a woman of purpose, a woman of character, a woman who was challenged in her comfortability, challenged when it mattered most. And we find in Esther chapter 4, verse 8, it begins, it says, he also gave him a copy of the text of the edict for their annihilation, which had been published in Susa, to show to Esther and explain it to her. And he told him to instruct her to go into the king's presence and to beg for mercy and plead with him for her own people. And so he went to Esther and reported everything that her uncle Mordecai had said to her, to him to say to her. And then she instructed him to go back to her uncle Mordecai and to say, all the king officials and the people of the royal provinces know that for any man or woman who approaches the king in the inner court without be summoned by the king has but one law, that they be put to death. And unless the king extends the gold scepter to them and spares their lives. But for 30 days have passed since I was called to go to the king. And when Esther's words were reported to Mordecai, he sent back this answer. And so basically he was writing a letter, and Mordecai was saying, listen, Esther, if you do not go to the king, there's a whole group of people that would be annihilated. Our lives are on the line. We could be taken out. Injustice could take place. Injustice could be done, all because of one person's opinion, all because of one person's prejudice, all because of one person's issues with us. We could literally be taken out. And so he wrote a letter to his niece saying, listen, please, you have the ability, you have the wherewithal, that if you go to the king and explain, if you go to the king and make him understand how this law that could be decreed, how this law that could be put in the books could literally affect, could literally through its system cause the annihilation of a group of people. And Esther said, do you understand how the law works here, Mordecai? Do you understand that if anybody just goes, and I'm even considered part of the family, the royal family, but I can't even, because if anybody goes without the permission, unlawfully, do stuff that's against the law, do things that would disrupt, do things that would cause a disruption, literally, they could be put to death. And Mordecai, uncle, what you're asking of me to do, literally, my life, my comfort, my title, my sense of self, all that I have can be taken away. And so Mordecai sent back this in verse 13, and he said, listen, honey, do not think that because you are in a better place, because you have arrived, because maybe you've made it and you're a little bit more beyond the rest of us, do not think that because you are in the king's house, that you alone are beyond this edict, beyond this law, beyond what they said. And he said, for if you remain silent at this time, relief and deliverance for a group of people, for a culture, for a community, for a people, God can use someone else, and it can come from another place. But you and your family will perish. And who knows? He's writing this. He's admonishing. He's trying to help her to consider. He's trying to help her to think differently about where she is in her life. He's trying to challenge her to think beyond her fear, her worry. Think beyond her education. Think beyond her status. Think beyond what she's been told to believe. Think beyond what she's been told of staying in a box. He's challenging her, and he's saying, possibly, could you be in the place that you're in? Who knows that you may be where you are for such a time as this? I want to stop there for a moment because I want to encourage somebody, because many of us read the Bible and we'll use, and even now, I'm talking about a character in the Bible, and powerful story. But many of us look at stories and we just say it's a nice story. We look at characters in the Bible and we say, oh, look at how God used them. And some of us will even talk about them more than understanding that God has allowed them to be in the story for us to understand where, what, and how we can affect and impact where we are. For such a time as this. I want to encourage somebody today because many of us will look at characters in our past, great civil rights leaders. We'll look at the Harriet Tubmans. We'll look at the Rosa Parks. We'll look at the Martin Luther King Jr. We'll look at the Abernathy's. We'll look at the Lewises. We'll look at, my God, great sports heroes. We'll look at those who became the first in our culture, in our world, in our society. We'll look at the ones in the biblical text and we'll admonish them and we'll talk about them and we'll highlight them. But oh, where do we stand in moments of controversy, in moments of challenge? And the Lord hit me up and he said, many of us can be like an Esther, where if we do not understand, we can read stories. We can kind of even envision how great somebody else is. We can look at what somebody else has done. We can look at and say, wow, look at how God used them. Or we could even internalize it and say how great God used people to bring forth deliverance, and never understand that the reason why God has given that to us is to encourage us, to have us see that maybe we can be and do the same. Esther's name literally means two things. In the Hebrewic understanding, it means her name means to be a star, a light. It reminds me even like Jesus, when the wise black men came to see the star that was in the sky that was prophetic about a king being born. So Esther somewhat reminds me of the story of the birth of a king. Also, her name literally means to hide. So in one sense, she's a star, but in another sense, she is hidden. And I want to talk to somebody who is hiding today, but literally you've been called a star. You're hiding from your purpose. You're hiding from reload site. You're hiding from situations and circumstances. You're hiding from different scenarios. You're hiding from what God has called for you to do. You're hiding from your purpose. You're hiding from the very thing that God is equipping you to do. And so what we find here is that Esther was hidden. And Mordecai literally challenged her. Mordecai exposed her. Mordecai reminded her. And today I want to remind somebody who's hiding that you could be the very one that God desires to use. I want to talk to somebody who's allowed your circumstance to keep you hidden, to allow your past to keep you hidden, to allow your hang-ups that have caught you and kept you to be hidden, to allow the things that people told you about yourself that you've remained hidden. And I want to say to you that if God created you. He's created you not for us to read about the past and to talk about how great Esther's life was, or Moses' life was, or David's life was, and we can get so excited. We could jump, we could shout, we could talk about the giants of David. We could talk about how Moses was used, that God used them to open the Red Sea. We could talk about, my God, different ones in the biblical text, and we could shout and we could scream, and then we sit there and say, oh God, we're thankful for what you did for them. And we remain hidden in what God might want to do for us today. Esther's identity was hidden, where all she tried to do was survive in her circumstance, survive in her situation. And I want to talk to somebody today, because all you're doing is surviving and not thriving. Whew. Come on, instrumental of something that goes with this. Thriving takes for you to get out of your comfort zone. Thriving will take you to go beyond the status quo. Status will cause you to be able to look opposition, to look fear, to look what is unknown in the face, and cause you to say, I was built for such a time as this. I want to talk to somebody, and I'm feeling it this morning, because I'm talking to you. Yes, you. Yes, you. You know that there's more to your story. You know that there's more to what people have stated and labeled you as. You know that there's more than the label and the diagnosis of what they've labeled you as. You know that there's more than just doing your 9 to 5. And so let me encourage you that in times when you've had to hide purpose, hide who you are, hide the things that you dream about, Joseph. Hide the skills that God equips you with, David. Hide your dreams. Hide acting as if you know where you're going, but you're only going off of what God has told you. Hide where they wanted to kill you. They already put labels on you. You already had a rap sheet, Moses, because you're known as a murderer. They already talked about you because you are part of one culture, but you was put in a different situation. And they didn't realize that although you was in another place, in another vicinity, God put you there so that you can come back to be a deliverer. Moses. That when millions of people who have a mindset of poverty, a mindset of being slaves, a mindset of just going with the status quo, to the point that even they ask the question, why'd you bring us here? We did better with the ones who kept us enslaved, the ones who told us and beat us down and kept us beyond purpose. And oftentimes the one that is oppressed, we've even seen it this week, can be the oppressor. How in the world, Al Sharpton said, to those that oppressed someone that they should have been bringing liberation to, done no wrong. Tyree, we honor you today. But oftentimes, if we're not careful, those that have come out can be the ones to oppress. If we're not careful, the things that we pray for, when we get it, we may not know how to handle it because of our own victimization. That the very thing that God blesses us with, we in turn not value and understand the purpose of it. Oh, who am I talking to? Liberation's coming your way. To the one, you've prayed and you've prayed, and you're saying, but God, why don't I see my prayers being answered? Who is this for? This is not a part of my notes, but I want to say to you, be encouraged, because God has heard your prayer. And I've come to even understand in my own prayers, I'm thankful even today, because some things I've prayed for, God did not give me because I wasn't ready for. God knows where you are. He knows what you're able to handle. He knows your heart. He knows what you're built for. He knows what you're able to handle. He knows why he's allowed you to go through what you've gone through. He knows why he's allowed setbacks and hang-ups, failures. He knows he's allowed certain things, and he hears your prayer. Don't you dare give up. Don't you dare throw in the towel. Don't you dare doubt God. Don't you dare try to go left and go right. You stand and understand that the revelation you have, you're waiting for the time. The things God has shown you, changes in your family, changes in your mind, changes with the diagnosis, changes with the psychological things that you have allowed you to feel abandoned and allowed you to feel certain ways you can't trust and certain things you can't do. And you're praying, God, free me, God, help me, God. Oh, he hears you. But there's a time, because God will never give you something that you're praying for that you're not able to handle, that it will cause you to lose the battle, cause you to not stand in the fight. And what I've come to see is, over the course of history, over the course of time, and what I take out of this book of Esther is that Esther had to be ready. Esther had to be prepared. Esther had to have the ability to stand. Because if any other time she would have faltered, any other time she would have stayed sobbing, she would have sat and allowed persecution to happen, thinking that because she was one of nobility, one of status, one with a title, that she would not have been touched. I want to challenge somebody, because you need to stop sitting. You pray for change, but then you sit thinking that God's only going to do it. If you praying for it, and somebody said after you pray, then you get up and you act on your prayer. Esther, a whole culture, a whole group of people would have been annihilated if you would have sat. Esther sobbed. They fasted. They prayed. They put Esther. Oh, they were religious. Sobbing and weeping. But sobbing and weeping did not change the law. Sobbing and weeping did not change the mind of the king. Sobbing and weeping and fasting did not create for the mind of the oppressor to be changed. So I want to challenge somebody. You see problems, you see situations, you see things. You can't just sit and think it's going to change just because it's going to change. You cannot sob and complain and give your opinion and your thoughts and not do anything otherwise. So Esther sat, Esther sobbed, but the very thing they fasted for, the very thing they was praying for, the very situation that they saw, she did not realize that it would take her to go from sitting to sobbing to taking a stand. And I'm so blessed to see that you need people in your life. Find people in your life. Find those who will see things in you that sometimes you don't see yourself. Find ones who can challenge you to greatness, challenge you to make impact, challenge you to be able to go beyond what you don't see in yourself. Oh, you need people, support. You need ones who won't criticize you and down you and sit and sob with you and sit and say, oh. You need people who will give you constructive, challenging feedback to say you're better than who you think you are. You have the wherewithal to do. You can do this. You are capable. You can be. You have what it takes. Find the people. For so many times we find folks that are toxic and stay with that because that's all we've known. So we thrive off of sobbing. We thrive off of sitting in ashes, sitting in despair, sitting just talking about the problems, sitting just saying we're hopeless. And because of your environment, because of your toxic mindset, you will believe more of your environment. You'll just go with the status quo. You'll just obey the law and never realize for such a time as this. Put it in the comments. Encourage somebody. Equip them and say, for you have been for such a time as this. What gets me about this woman is that she went through marginalization. She went through hiding. She went through the naysayers. She was oppressed. She was not looked at. She was overlooked. She was not considered to be one of status, nobility, one of a voice. But check her name out. That even when folks did not see her, when folks did not acknowledge her, she still was a star. Oh, a star was born. In oppression, a star was born. In confusion, a star was born. When they was exiled, a star was born. When folks thought she was the least likely, they forgot her name. The meaning of her name, a star was born for such a time as this. And we see in verse 11, Esther, she was trying to be cautious. She was trying to be one to play it safe. She was trying to give her reason. She was trying to give her excuse. She was trying to give her complaint. But oh, her uncle, or some would say her cousin, someone, one of her relatives, whoever you want to call it, reminded her that just maybe, oh, I want to talk to somebody, just maybe what you've gone through has prepared you for such a time to make impact, such a time to be a voice, such a time to be something that you've never seen in your history, in your family. Don't mess it up, don't screw it up. Such a time to be the entrepreneur that so many others in your family history lineage wanted to be. Such a time to raise a family. Such a time to be what others desired to be but could not be because of laws and because of an unjust society. Oh, because of how they was told, or the limits, the ceilings, the walls that they were in. But for such a time as this, maybe this story was put so that you can understand that every season and there's a time for everything, and stop living looking just at what Esther did, but realize what is it, what time is it now that God wants to use you. I've come to see that in every time, in every generation, in every, as we look at even as the dates of black inventors, and I'll let you see it in a moment, every generation within our time. See, we have time, but God works not out of time, and He infuses, He impacts, He invades, He disrupts, He brings people in to impact the time. And so we're thankful for all of these. Y'all see, let me just show you. You don't have to move. You see the different ones, the different names. If it wasn't for Alexander Mills, we'll have no elevator. If it wasn't for Thomas Marshall, we'll have no fire extinguisher. What if we didn't have these things? Fire extinguisher. What if we didn't have a stethoscope to be able to listen to your heart? Come on, somebody. Let's thank those for in their time and in their season, they were used to make impact, to be inventors, to be creators, to affect change in our world. For such a time as this. And so, let me encourage you. Do some research. Do your homework. Look at how God used people in their time. He used people in those times. 70 years, 60 years. Martin Luther King, 38 years. Malcolm X, 30. Come on, somebody. It may not be a whole lot of time, but there is for such a time. You may have gone through all of some of your life, but for such a time, it's prepared you for such a time. You may feel like nobody is seeing you. You may feel left out. You may feel like nobody's seeing you. You may feel hidden, but there is going to be for such a time. And maybe your such a time is now. And so Moses can't do it. David can't do it. Paul won't do it. For their time was their time. But now it's our time. And God, if He used them, I'm a firm believer that He can use us. He'll use your past. He'll use your upbringing. He'll use your fears. He'll use the failure. He'll use your position. He'll use your status. So start looking around you. See how God has blessed you. See where God has taken you. See the things that He has equipped you with. See even the negatives, even the stuff that hurts you, even the stuff that got you to where you are, understand that God can use it. So stop letting it be something to define you as toxic, as negative, as flip it. For what if Esther would have said? What if Esther would have stayed sobbing? But I'm thankful to God that she took a stand. Preacher court, for such a time as this, maybe, just maybe, you was born. You have been designed. You have been fashioned. You have gone through what you went through. You have experienced what you experienced. You have went through the failure. You went through a broken relationship. You went through divorce. You went through hardship and pain. You've gone through a broken school system. You failed in some courses of your life. You went through some drama, some hardship, and some pain. You went through the pressure and some rain. Oh, but I'm here to encourage you on this morning. Everything you've gone through, some of y'all ain't said, it ain't even what I've gone through, it's what I'm going through. Well, let me say to you today, whatever you're going through, God has fashioned you. God has designed you. God has equipped you. God has prepared you. God is getting you ready. God has a plan. God ain't left you out there by yourself. God is imputing. God is downloading. If you're in situations and you're getting stuff that's getting crazy and you don't understand it, then just wait a minute, analyze, try to understand, try to come to good reason, try to come to how do you see it? Because if you're in something, it ain't just to be in something. For if anyone is in Christ, He's got you covered. If anyone is in something, know that He's put you in it to take you through it, put you in it so that you can be a blessing in it, put you in it so that you can be an impact in it. And so, what do? You stop sitting, you stop sobbing, and you get up and you take a stand. Stand why? Impact will cause you to stand against, to stand for, to stand with, to stand up, to stand out. So, a part of making an impact will cause you to take a stand, to stand up against, to stand for, to stand with, to stand up, to make your voice heard, to get up out of the seat of demise, in the seat of ashes, in the seat of despair, in the seat of oppression, to get up, to stop sobbing, to stop criticizing, to stop being Debbie Downer, to stop being worrier, to stop being all of that stuff, and for you to get up and change your story. So Esther got up, went to the king, and said, if I perish, I perish. If I die, I die. But it won't be said that I didn't make an impact. It won't be said that I didn't disrupt them. It won't be said that I didn't intervene. It won't be said that I sat and did nothing, prayed and did nothing, talked and did nothing. But I'm going to go to the king for such a time as this is your time. Somebody, come on. Somebody say it's my time. For such a time. Not any time. Not all the time, but for such a time. And I decree this day, this will be a year for such a time that your children will be blessed. Such a time that you're going to give more to what God is doing, to what the devil's doing, to more being blessed, to more being an entrepreneur, to more being a world changer, to more making a social impact, to more being a world changer. This for such a time. And I challenge you for your time to get such a time that your name may be an inventor, that your name might be the first, that your name will go down in history, that if they read your story, read your biography, read your life, they can talk about for such a time. Judy, for such a time. Susie, for such a time. Kiki, for such a time. Jasmine, for such a time. Donald, for such a time. Pastor Lawrence, oh, I'm looking for your such a time. For 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 such a time. And if Tyree Nichols had to die for such a time, it'll change laws. If George Floyd had to go through what he went through for such a time, if Martin went through what he for such a time, Malcolm for such a time, Marcus Garvey for such a time, for Harriet Tubman such a time, for Rosa Parks such a time, for my God, my God. Oh, for Coretta Scott King, such a time. For Maya Angelou, such a time. For James Baldwin, such a time. For Frederick Douglass, such a time. For everybody that God's gonna use for such a time to become. I challenge you, this will be your such a time year to make impact. Shout yes! Shout yes! Shout yes! Impact! Let's go! For justice? How do you stand for the marginalized? How do you equip others? How do you make your voice heard? How do you come from hiding to being a star? I'm so glad you asked. You use your voice to stand up. You help others stand up. You fight for justice. You stand for the oppressed. You become the gospel for those who the system is made poor. Open the sight of the blind. Preach the word. Walk the word. Be an example of the word. That's how you stand and make impact. Shout yes! We'll see you again next week as we focus on the black history that God has given us. It ain't black history, it's American history. It's all of our history. And we are so thankful to God that He showed up, showed out in the struggle. And so we honor those who fought, who stood, who stands, who stood up so that we can stand up, who made impact, who disrupted, who invaded, and who God used. We'll see you next week right here at Life Change.
Oh, freedom. Oh, freedom. Oh, freedom over me. And before I'll be a slave, I'll be buried in my grave and go home to my Lord and be free. Oh, freedom. Oh, freedom. Freedom. Oh, freedom. Oh, freedom over me. Over me. And before I be a slave, I'll be buried in my own grave and go home to my Lord and be free. No more weeping, don't you know? No more weeping. No more weeping over me. And before I be a slave, I'll be buried in my own grave and go home to my Lord and be free. Oh, freedom. Oh, freedom. Oh, freedom. Oh, freedom. Oh, freedom. Oh, freedom over me. And before I be a slave, I'll be buried in my grave and go home to my Lord and be free. And before I be a slave, I'll be buried in my grave. I'm going home to my Lord and be free.
Hi, how are you, sir?
Mr. President, this is Lester Townsend. He's 108 years old.
No, he's not. You're lying about your age. you're
The grandson of a slave.
Oh,
Shake his hand
man.
with the president of the United
that's something
States.
right there. So how come you look so good? What's your secret? Huh?
I haven't found it.
What are you eating?
Whatever they bring me. I never thought I'd live to see
Well, what an honor to what an honor to see you. I'm just going to try to make sure I look half as good as you when I'm 100, much less 108.
So great.
All right, so nice to see you, sir. God bless you.
Thank you for joining us here at Life Change. Listen, if you have been blessed, inspired, transformed, motivated, encouraged, or maybe with tears in your eyes having to go to the throne of grace to ask for repentance, then that's what this is all about. I pray that this broadcast has blessed you. And if it has, then do me a favor. Like, share, comment, matter of fact, subscribe so that we could get the word out that Life Change is here to change lives. Until next week, have a blessed week, and we'll see you again right here at Life Change.